Welcome to PC Today. I'm your host, Cody Nimmo, and we're going with the presidential theme today. And I'm here with President Cleer. President Cleer, about how many years have you spent here at Piedmont as the president?
This is my 16th year. And rather 16 seems to be the most exciting year yet, so that's where we are.
In all of your 16 years here at Piedmont, what is the most memorable thing that you've encountered while being president?
Gosh, that's a trick question, of course, but I suppose my work at Piedmont has become more interesting and challenging each year. Initially, my job was to turn the college around. It had fallen on some pretty hard times for a while, and that process occurred rather rapidly, and soon we found ourselves looking for the next opportunity. So every year is a new set of opportunities, you might say.
Some things that people probably don't know is, what does the president of a college do on an everyday basis, kind of things like that?
I do everything. In fact, coming here this morning, I saw an area that had not been addressed in a long time, and something that needed to be painted on campus, and I'm doing all of the things you may not hear about. I'm also, in a sense, the night watchman. If we have an emergency during the night, if there's unexpected issue on campus, that's why I live on campus, not because I just enjoy living in the middle of campus. But my real work is to continue to have strong academic programs and equally strong graduates, and that's really what it's all about.
You kind of talked about you don't spend much time over here, really, but they named the mainstream theater in honor of you. How do you feel about that?
Well, of course, I'm pleased on one level, but if you knew my background a little better, you would know that I don't think presidents should allow things to be named for them while they're sitting as presidents. In my case, the chairman of the board overruled me, and my wife joined him in that, and so they named the theater in honor of me, and I'm very pleased with that. I could not be more pleased.
It is your last year here at Piedmont. What do you plan to do when you retire?
Did that answer your question? No, seriously. I plan to be active in higher education, and I'm currently being approached by some folks in different areas that may help me map out what I'd like to do next. I'm not interested in having a long-term organizational association with a college, for example, but I may do some consulting work with colleges that are having difficulties, colleges that wish to add new programs such as our new doctoral program. So I'll probably be busy in one area or another, and right now it's fun to look at the options.
You kind of talked about the doctoral program. I know that you are teaching a class now. How does that differ from what you have been doing? Well,
I've always taught almost every year. I've taught less since I've been here than before I came here as the Commissioner of Higher Ed for the state of Mississippi, where I had a large number of universities over which I said grace, so to speak. I taught every year there, and usually I taught for Ole Miss at the graduate level. Now I'm teaching the first ethics course at the graduate level for our School of Business. So I'm teaching in the MBA program now and thoroughly enjoying that experience.
And that's all for the first segment here with Dr. Cleer. Join us in just a few.
Do you want your world to look like this every time you walk out your door? Little things can make a big difference. Visit these websites to find out more.
Welcome back to PC Today. I'm Cody Nimmo, your host, and we're back with President Cleer. President Clear, at the end of our last segment, you kind of talked about your experiences at Ole Miss, and what was your background kind of before you came here at Piedmont?
Well, let's see. I had a number of significant experiences. I sold used cars, drove a bread truck, and all those things. But I was a high school teacher. I was a college vice president for a number of years. Then I was vice chancellor of the University System of Georgia. I was the number 2 man for the public higher education system in Georgia, at which time I received my first retirement. I'd done all my work up to that point in Georgia, and that was followed by my becoming the first head of higher education for the state of Mississippi. And I indicated earlier that I also am a graduate of Ole Miss. So in Mississippi, I oversaw their 8 universities, and then I did that for 2 4-year terms, and then I returned to my favorite part of the world, where I've always had a house in the mountains, and I accepted the position here at Piedmont.
That's really cool. You are retiring here as the president. What do you want to see the next president do for the school in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think my list for the next president is much longer than the next president will want to see. The things that I would see happening at a college like ours in the next few years are voluminous, and they include possibly receiving federal money. Right now we're a small college that does not go after federal funds. We do that because there happens to be a foundation in America that gives us a rather large sum of money not to go after federal funds. Well, do we need to look at that again, because we have faculty members who are quite interested in doing research that could be federally funded, and we might bring in more students who are interested in being grad assistants in federally related academic projects. So that would be something to look at. In addition to that, I think we've caught up on our building, as we can see here. I think it will be more important now to be sure we've polished up all of our academic programs, which we do every 2 or 3 years. And it's now time to pause and look at every academic program to be sure its curriculum is up to date, things like that.
What is the one thing you're going to miss the most about being the president here?
Probably being with my wife on a daily basis. Whatever I do next will keep me away more than it does now. And as you know, my wife is a professor of religion and chaplain of the college, and we'll have to figure out how we're going to stay in touch, and when I come home and when she comes to wherever I am, and so forth.
We did just add a sport here at Piedmont in lacrosse. Do you think we'll add any more sports, maybe football, in the future, possibly?
Football is my favorite subject. I am not a fan of football at small colleges. I think it's a waste of energy. It detracts from other sports, and I am rather adamant in opposing football in smaller colleges. I also, in the past, had to clean up enormous financial and academic problems that grew out of football programs that were out of control in large universities. I was involved in a problem at the University of Georgia. After I left here, I discovered another one in Mississippi State, one of my institutions. Those problems were settled. But in terms of athletics here at Piedmont, the larger picture, I believe there's still room for other athletic programs. Having a lacrosse program, which is a men's lacrosse program, is in fact a contact sport, as you know. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to be exciting. I think the expense of starting a football program, and I don't think the community understands this, it is a very expensive program that ultimately detracts from your other sports programs. For that reason alone, I would oppose it. However, the next administration can make another decision.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Clear, for spending your time with us this morning.
Pleasure. Good to be with you.
And I am Cody Nimmo, and we will be back with a couple more of our college presidents.
Children